Welcome to the Accountability Circle, everyone. Again, the weekly thing where we try to hold each other accountable to try to meet our goals. So far, it's been working out, but there was an interesting discussion, or just the idea last week of, is it worth it for us to always do something? Rock, by the way, in the Discord, you can actually do the rock as a sticker now. So if you have Nitro, I think you can use the sticker outside too. The whole thing about the accountability circle, and the thing that was sort of interesting and also difficult, is that you have to do it every single week. And I was thinking of this last week where I was like, I don't know if it's worth it to do every single week, because it feels very painful for us to do every single week, in the sense of like, if you're just, because the thing that I thought of last time when we were playing games is the idea of, okay, if you're always chasing a goal every single week, when do you actually get to live life, right? And if you never get to live life, then maybe doing the goals isn't worth it. Maybe the goal should just be to live life. But then a chat I said it's actually helping them. So we're gonna continue doing it, because it also helped me focus my efforts too. It was good. This time we're gonna go over everyone's goals. Like, again, I've noticed some like slowdowns and drop-offs, but it's mainly because a lot of people's goals are much more longer term. So it's like, and it's hard to figure out. And one thing that I'm struggling with too is trying to figure out, okay, what is a next step, right? Because it's like, if I'm doing the same thing, do I type it again? What is a next step? I think it's worth it to just say that you're doing the same thing, just so we know, so we can refer back to it. But I totally get it. I don't want you to think of a new thing every single week, because some things really do go longer than a week. I would say most everything that's worth it in life is going to take you more than a week in life to do. Except for things like gooning or eating. Like, those you can do at any moment, 5 minutes, and 5 minutes in and out, and you're good. But this time, we have some new goals from everyone. I will take this project seriously. So mine is first. I said my goals were I was going to take this project seriously. 5 minutes, that's too long for that. 5 seconds. Take it or leave it. Because so far, I've been failing to take this seriously. I have failed the last multiple times we've been doing this. At least 3 times now, of which, and we've only done this 5 times so far, so that's a lot of times. But this time, I've succeeded. This time I've succeeded, and I will update you very soon, because I want to actually, I actually want to work on things instead of just losing my time to random games and stuff like that. Because but at the same time, it's complicated, because I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about this a lot, and it's sort of a part of my goal understanding. Because there's a joke that I made where I think to be the streamer, you can underestimate me. I can goon for days. I can goon for days, or farm your lunch. Where's the thing that I said about, like, you have to have a job to be a streamer? I think it was firefighter. The word. There we go. Oh, yeah. So what I was thinking was this. Okay. While I would like to focus on only the most important things in my life, sometimes I think I have to live life too, because it's like, for a well-rounded experience, what I've come to realize is that sure, you can focus on goals the whole time, but if you're not a person, then what's the point of living, if that makes sense? I wanted to try to sort of like get to a point where I'm a well-rounded person, where I take in a lot of diverse experiences. Not that I become those experiences, but that I'm like aware of them, and sort of I think about them, just so that I'm aware of them across all things, right? And so, basically what I'm trying to say is, I think to like be a better person, I have to live more. But I was also applying this to the idea of streaming, because when I said related, I had a thought recently that streamers have to keep a 9 to 5 in order to be truly entertaining. Otherwise, it's sad, right? And how even contracting and doing things like every now and then still feels like I'm too far away. And even these contracts are very, very rare. It's like once every couple months, right? If you don't live life, how do you get stories downstream? Exactly. But I don't, well, not necessarily. So I also think that telling stories on stream is sort of a complicated thing, because it builds on the parasociality. I think specifically the synthesis of the ideas is what matters for stream. The stories are the things that I live, and it's not something that chat is privy to. But the synthesis of the ideas that come out of these situations, and then the results of those, and sort of like the learnings, and also like the laughs that can be had about them, I think those are the things that are valuable for a streaming environment, because you dodge the parasociality. There's no, like, there is a correlation to your life, but there's no actual, I guess, like, real events that you're talking about. Cool story, Bob. And so it's like, then, so you get the benefit of the lack of parasociality, but you also get the benefit of like a cool story, Bob, right? where you actually get to talk about something interesting. Like when I talked about the idea of like, oh, how am I gonna raise like my niece or something? Like, how do I teach them about the world, right? It's like there's some situations that come into play, but the whole goal of it, but the whole idea of it was how do you actually get someone to change their mind, and then how do you get them to like see the experience that you have, right? Like stuff like that. It's a complicated topic that you only get after 16 years of let's say raising someone. 16 years to have that one moment where you say that one thing and it's still not even an answer but a question. But that's what you need in life, right? You need to have that balance. Otherwise, it doesn't work. For instance, this other chatter, they said that they had somebody who came out on YouTube and they used to make funny videos, and then they said that they're quitting their job to be a YouTuber full time. And then I said, yeah, that's downhill, because being a teacher forces you to be funny, since kids only laugh at the core concepts in life, like poop, but also get equally afraid once you start saying things like you'll murder someone. So you have to stay within this like twilight zone where you're not too far and not too deep, but also not too simple, where the kids can grow and enjoy what you're saying. That's how I view the life thing for me. So in terms of a goal, while I'm doing this now, what I realized too is that I need to take life more seriously too. I need to start enjoying my life, and I need to really start thinking about what I want to do in life too, in the sense of like, okay, how do I want to spend my time as a whole, not just the goals in life, but also like, how do I want to just relax, and how do I want to just enjoy life as well, and how do I want to take my career as well, right? So again, because the streaming thing is a side thing. This whole thing is a side thing while I have downtime in my life. I should enjoy my life at Eastside Mario's. That's good. That's really good. Again, for those of you who have no clue what Eastside Mario's is, another chatter who's also a Canadian, by the way, so it's like a Canadian psyop. It's like a Canadian psyoping Canadians about something called Eastside Mario's. They talked about Eastside Mario's. It is an Italian all-you-can-eat restaurant, but they only do all you can eat Mondays, and you don't get infinite pasta. You only get infinite salad, soup, and bread. Bada bing, bada boom. She's not being weird. Somewhere on this, I forget where now, but somewhere on this, what they have a tagline where it's like, oh, like so good that it'll be like boom, and then it's like bada bing, bada boom or something. I don't know. It's like a whole thing that they set up. It's like a whole, I don't know, slogan that they have. But anyways, and you can go and you get a daily deal of Mondays. All you can eat pasta, but only some pasta. So you get Mario spaghetti and meatballs, or his Alfredo. But its key is all you need: soup, salad, and garlic home loaf. And these are the soups and the salads. And honestly, it's pretty good, because this looks like a lot of food. And honestly, I'm down for anything. There's something about the Italian palate that I really enjoy, and it's mainly because I love tomatoes. But you get soups and salads. Con at Eastside Mario's one. Can you imagine that I do like a whole convention at Eastside Mario's? Do you think they'd actually let me do that? Like, I'm like, hey, I'm a famous streamer, but then it's a lie because there's only like, what, 2 people ever watching me, right? And then I'm like, I want to hold a convention for all my Canadian viewers, which is also a lie because there's only one of them. And so we go in and then we do this, and it's like, okay, there's only one person, and it's just me and one other person sitting at a table in an empty Eastside Mario's with like several staff members, because to run a restaurant that's like this, you probably need like, 7 or 8 multiple of each role people, like a whole buffet team. And then it's like they're just staring at us drinking like Italian wedding soup and a roasted garlic tomato soup. Like, that's sad. That's sad. But yeah, Eastside Mario's suit. One day we'll do a convention at Eastside Mario's, because TwitchCon has apparently been going downhill. Very downhill. But also, this is sort of the thing, okay? So in doing this, I was thinking about this, right? I like my career more than I like streaming, which is weird to say, but it's like, I don't know how to say this. Streaming's fun and playing games is fun. But I also like just making things and doing things. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to explain this, but I don't get how people can... What career? Sorry, just like, oh, you hurt me. You wounded me. Why did you say that? In my mind, when you stay away from creating things for too long and you just mindlessly consume, not that that's a bad thing to mindlessly consume, but like, it does grow stale. And like, it's a crazy thing to say, because it's like, wait, but you're playing games all the time, right? But like, I want to have an impact on the world, in the sense of like a positive impact. I want to try to make the world a little bit better than what it was yesterday. And I know that giving laughs is an important part, but like, I don't hear your laughter, so it's not real to me. But you know what is real to me? When I bang out a couple lines of code and boom, I make a machine that can help solve someone's, I don't know, illness. Like bada bing, bada boom. You know what I mean? It's amazing. It's Eastside Mario's X Humber River Hospital. I don't know, or like Sick Kids Hospital. I don't know, or like Mount Sinai Hospital. Thank you for the impact. Your watch streak is 6-7. Mod, ban yourself. But in my mind, like, that's a fun thing to have. It's like, you know, you just work on stuff in life that matters and you change people's lives for the better. Same thing with like other things too. Like, I've been thinking about maybe I should volunteer and stuff too, because there's a lot of really cool volunteer initiatives where I can use my skills, and there's also like other volunteer initiatives that are always needed, right? Like, you know, food. I forget the name now. Is it soup kitchens or is it food banks? But it's the one where you serve them like food, where you serve people food. But there's also like other things that are more tech related too. Like in Toronto, there's like a really cool thing called like the Free Geeks in Toronto, where they do like, you know, tech stuff, like a fix and refurbish, and they give it away to like nonprofits and charities and the stuff, right? Like, that to me is it feels so much more satisfying than whatever this is. Not to say that I don't enjoy this, but it's why I just want this to be a side thing. Because as a main thing, I could make $1 million off of this, and I still would be like, I'm not doing anything for the world. Like, I'm not doing anything good for society. Not to say that making people laugh is necessarily bad. I think it is a good thing that there's entertainment, because entertainment can make people happier. But especially when I see like other bits of the not my streamer. Especially when I see other streamers, right, and the things that they do and like the things that they say, I just get sad, because it's like, man, like, not only do you have this captive audience, but you're also trying to exploit them and do all these terrible things. You spread these terrible messages and stuff, and I'm just like, you know, like, why not just do good for the world? Be a better person. Like, don't you want to be better? Like, don't you want to better yourself and better the world that you live in for the sake of people? Like, it just feels wrong to me, you know? At least in my own mind. So I'm like, if those are my peers, maybe the industry as a whole isn't necessarily worth it. Although it's funny to say that, like, you know, like someone who's at the top of the game with hundreds of thousands of viewers is my peer, just because I happen to like go on OBS and hit start streaming. But I digress. That's more of a funny joke about just the way that the job is. But even then, it doesn't discount that this is a real job. I do think that streaming, if you take it seriously, can be a very full job. Like, in the sense of, like, again, the reason why I'm failing at the accountability circle is because I stream too much, and it's been taking time away from my personal life. And so it's like well, not really. I actually but I lose the free time that I would have had to spend on the accountability circle stuff. So it's like, I know it takes a lot of effort, because not only do you have to play the game, there's like a lot of planning that goes into it too, and there's a lot of like the concept thing, like making the ideas and sort of planning the flow of things and planning different like events and stuff like that. It's a surprisingly varied skill. It's not the hardest job in the world, but it is still something like enough to make you go, there's like stuff that you have to do here. But that's why it's like, for me, it's like, I don't know if I want to put in the effort to keep doing it compared to doing something like what I enjoy doing. So if anything, this goal was the most valuable goal that I've ever solved, because it really made me take stock of like, well, is this really worth it for me in particular? Because when I reorganize my time such that I'll only focus on things I want to achieve instead of mindless dopamine slop, it also made me realize that in a way, this is mindless dopamine slop for me, because it's fun to just play games and go on and just turn my brain off. But that's also why we're playing 5 games today. So it's not like I'm actually helping myself here. I will try to. So I did not do the photoshopping more memes of Subway as a native ad into other things other than K-drama. I failed to. So I was gonna do like a whole bunch of them, but then I fell asleep, so I didn't do it. This one, the Accountability Circle 3D scene for this thing that was supposed to be in VR chat, but maybe it wasn't. I actually got started on this, and let me tell you, I'm not even close to finish, but I do know how to do it. And I did not sign up for the Canadian flag. So of the things that I did the most important stuff, and the meme stuff I didn't do. The Canadian flag I didn't bother because, yeah, it's over 100 years for you to get a Canadian flag. So I didn't even want to try. I was just like, okay. Because I was thinking to myself, while it'd be cool to plan the Canadian flag such that you plan your family's trajectory of where they live, how much money they're gonna make, you know, how to, like, who's gonna receive the flag, the name of your great-great-grandchild. I was like, that's too much work when I could just be playing games or gooning. You know what I mean? Like, it's easier to just do nothing. Dopamine hits are fine. Yeah, little hits in there are fine. Just one more dopamine hit. But let me update you on what I found out about the accountability circle thing. So, again, as I showed you, I'm using a program called Warudo, which doesn't really have any built-in way to do like 3D text in the scene that's also hooked up to your Twitch chat. So it's kind of weird in that it's not really there. But also, primarily, it doesn't have support for 7TV. So there's a lot of different sources of emotes, and they're all complicated. There's this one. Let me just open them all on the different side, and I'll show you them all very, very soon. There's this one, and there's this one. So 7TV is the one that we all know and love. There's a lot of emotes here, but there's also other ones that I use too. I actually have a couple of emotes on FrankerFace as Zed, as well as Better TTV. I have quite a few emotes on these platforms. Okay. And all of them have different APIs and different ways that the API is you're expected. Like the way that you use them is very different. And actually, this 7TV doesn't even document theirs, so I have to use another MIT licensed program, Chatterino, to help guide me into how you would use their API, because their current one has no documentation. But every platform has a different set of features. Like there's animated emotes, there's static emotes, there's even emote modifiers. So there's like mask emotes, there's like wide emotes on 7TV. There's like overlay emotes. FrankerFace Z is actually the more simple emote library where it's mostly just normal emotes. And so that's the thing that's missing from Warudo, is a built-in integration for these, as far as I could tell. I couldn't find anything. So I was like, okay, how hard is it to build something like that in Unity? And you can kind of see at the top here that it's gotten a little out of hand with all the tabs. So I was like, okay, let's just focus on 7TV for now. What do I need for 7TV? What is on 7TV? Let's look at Booba. Very classic emotes, and also has multiple variations of it that show us all the different ways that Booba can be expressed. So you have Booba as an animated GIF emote. So, you know, these are GIFs, they play. They're also WebPs, so it's primarily WebPs, probably the format to use because of the compression, but even then it's not really much. It's like 5 to 10% apparently in the real world. You have normal, okay, well not this one, but you also have static emotes. Okay, that's not a static one. Is there like a static emote somewhere? You have like a static emote like this one, where it's just a plain old image, so it's like a PNG or a JPEG or something, right? And you may notice too that the sizes of emotes varies. This is 360 by 128. This one is 128 by 128. It's animated, but this one that's animated is 228 by 128. And this static one is This animated one is 128 by 128, and then but this static one is also 128 by 128. So all of these have different dimensions, along with different characteristics. Like they're probably animated or they're not animated. They're all slightly different, right? So you have to support all of these things, but they also have overlay emotes. So they have like jar. I think it's like called cum jar or something. Why jar? So this one is an overlaying one where you can use this, and you can put something inside the jar by using this emote first and having the whatever goes inside the jar after as the emote, and it will instead be overlaid on top of this emote, because this emote has transparency layers, or sorry, underneath it. So there's a lot of complexities to how you would do it too, like in terms of effects. There's also wide emotes, which is specifically even wider than normal. So like there's a wide vibe. This one's like a really wide emote at 384 by 128. And you notice that there's different dimensions too. What, should you get 24 Mr. Puffs? What's a Mr. Puff? For 16 Canadian? Mr. Puff, dessert bar. What is this? Chat, this looks like a cream pie. What? Yeah, you can get cream pie, man. That's between you and that's between you and your partner. What is this? Wait, what is Mr. Puffs? But also, if it's like this, yeah, 24 Mr. Puffs for 16 Canadian. I mean, if it's like this, it's pretty good. I've never seen this before. Lucamides, what? Lucamides, a pure delicacy. Oh, this is a Greek pastry. Oh, it's a Greek pastry. It's like a ball with like sauce outside. Yeah, that's the cum jar. Go wide jar. Wow. Now in lotus flavor. You know what? Hey, Mod, thank you for showing me this. I'm gonna get some for myself too. Exclusive to Uber Eats? There's no way. So you can't order it in person. You have to go Uber Eats only to order it. That's messed up. I'll save that for later. But yeah, so all these different emo types, right? And I was like, okay, how hard is it to do? Is it a ghost kitchen? It's probably a ghost kitchen style where they do like a separate thing. But I think maybe what they mean is probably just the delivery portion. Like you can't do delivery on DoorDash. Like you can only do it on Uber Eats. They have stores you can go to. Oh, okay, but delivery. Okay, so, but delivery is only Uber Eats. Thank you. Okay, that makes sense. I wonder. Okay, so I know people in the restaurant business. They've told me about how much cut that Uber Eats takes. It's like 30 to 40% of the actual total margin. So it's like 30 to 40% of the total price of the meal is what they take in terms of fees. I wonder if they get lower fees by doing an exclusivity deal, because 30 to 40% for restaurants is like a death knell. Because I'm like, the margins for restaurants are already at like 5%, 10%. Like there's basically nothing left. Like if you were making $1 off of drinks, you're now making like, I don't know, 70 cents, which is nothing. Not that it's like, not bad, but it's like only drinks. Whereas a lot of foods, you might be making like $1 off of like a $16 meal. It's crazy. Anyways, these are the emote types that you have, okay? And I was thinking to myself, how do you implement these? Static emotes are easy because it's just one single image. You just need to load that in and display it. And with the 3D scene, it's even easier. You just need to load it in as like a texture, or you just have to put it onto a texture and then you just display that texture and it's fine. GIFs are a little complicated. So this GIF in particular, I actually have a copy of it available in GIMP. And I was actually going through this and I'll show you what I've learned. Basically, all GIFs are just a series of frames. And a WebP is the same thing, but it's a series of frames. AKA, it's a bunch of collection of images with like something at the beginning to tell you some characteristics about it. Like what algorithm it was encoded with, what other characteristics, like, is it, what the, like, I don't know, just like anything. It could be like a video thing too, like a video frame, and so it's like what playback speed it is. It's a surprisingly varied format for WebP, but GIFs are just the frames, okay? You can see it here where each frame is its own frame. And when you display the frames, you can only display the exact frame that's on, because as you can see, you get a little smearing across the frames, right? It's because the motion, it's not a difference of frames, it's the whole frame and what you would see on that frame. Whether it's WebP or GIF, I think they're both the same. There's a way to encode it such that you have just the differences that you apply to the image. So you would have a way to subtract pixels as well as a way to like have pixels there. I like how you do wide vibe into wide jar and now it's getting calmed down. Very nice. But see down here, this is the major problem, okay? So a single image emote is one single image. This is 236 images in one thing. So a GIF is composed of like 236 images. So the size of a GIF in terms of like the file size is way larger. If say a single frame emote is like, I don't know, like a couple kilobytes, this one in particular is actually, I think it's 4.2 megabytes at the large 4x size. 2.6. So this large one is 2.6 at the largest size. Cat Jam, which is also a GIF but is lower quality, is only at 338 kilobytes. And a flat plain old emote of like, I don't know, just like someone's face or something, or just like, people wide or like people happy, might be like 7 kilobytes. It's very small, right? So there's a lot of space that's being wasted by this. So I was like, okay, that's a little complicated now. But Unity probably has a way to play GIFs and videos. As far as I know, it kind of does, but also kind of doesn't. But also, I was thinking to myself, well, wait, it's not just the emotes themselves. In chat, when you look at like what a chat is, let me pull up the chat again. Sorry, give me a second to load the chat. It's just to give you a cool rundown of this, because I was actually... Like, I didn't realize how complicated this would be until I started to try to do it. And then I realized, like, the people who have been doing chat clients, like, they're doing a lot of work here. The chat, the way that you see it, it's... The emotes are a part of the line. So if I do... Uh-oh, it's coming. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh no. It's coming. Cumge. Do you do wide jar first? No, you do wide jar after. Wide jar. Right? Like, see this? All the emotes are a part of the line. And you see how they're aligned too? They're aligned in such a way that it's either the baseline is the same or they're centered to the text. Like, there's different ways to align it, but every chat client that I've seen does this center alignment. Whether it's this or Chatterino or something, where the text is centered and then the emotes are also where the pivot or like where the anchor points of the emotes are in the center. So it's like they're all centered on the line, and the emote goes down to the descender line of what the line is, which is like, say, the bottom half of a J, where it goes under the line, as well as the ascender line for things like a T or a capital that go above like a normal, like, lowercase c or something, let's say, right? So it fills that whole space and it fills the sideways space. But key is that it has to be a part of the sentence itself. So if I keep on typing, it's everywhere, cute cum. Right? Then you have to do this whole thing and it has to be all consistent spacing across the board to make it look nice. And I was like, okay, maybe I've gone over my head because, sure, I've got these emotes and I know how they work technically, but how do I do that? How do I lay it out within text? Because, again, as far as I can tell, Warudo doesn't have like a 7TV integration built in, but even if it did, you have to integrate it within the text line itself. So it has to be a part of the text that you see itself. And so I was going through this giant rabbit hole, and then I found this thing called Text Mesh Pro, which allows you to do a 3D world space UI, aka it has its own mesh and it's in there in the world. It's part of the world itself with its own positional coordinates. And you can do text as well as sprites. And I was like, okay, this is perfect. But a problem, sprites in Unity are a little complicated. This one is specifically also using a specific sprite method as well. Is it laid out with the text or does it fill the space that's allowed for the text box? So it's filled out. It's both. It's laid out with the text in the sense of like you laid out and you have the like it takes up space such that like text doesn't go behind it, so it's not like overlaid on the top. It is like a part of the text calculation in terms of, let's say, line overflow. Like if I minimize if I minimized the window, right, the line break would occur with the emotes in it, so it does lay out with the text, but it also does fill the space that's allowed for the text box. So it's like the full text box of like the baseline, the ascender, and like the descender, the full line height. I forget the actual term for it, because line height is the thing in between, but it's specifically that like box. Yeah, it's like the text box for the text itself, which is not the line height, but it's like. But it like, I don't know, is there, why do we call line height the space between lines when it's like, what do we call the space inside of it, like the actual text line? Anyways, but basically it's like that. So there's this system, right? But the sprite system it uses is the old school way, where you have to open the sprite and you have to like set the sprite coordinates yourself. And you also need to have a single texture that contains all of your sprites. You can have multiple textures, and you can load all these textures in, but the problem is that you must predefine what the texture is. So, first problem, you must predefine the sprite asset, which is like how this library references those sprites. You can dynamically populate it, but it must be in a specific spot within your application's file directory structure. There's no way for it to dynamically reference things from like certain places. You can't just load it and pass it in. I don't know why, but that's just a restriction. But I've been looking into if I could do it. You can dynamically define the sprites and stuff, which you kind of have to. Otherwise, this wouldn't work for something like Warudo, which is something that anybody can use and anybody can like download, but especially for me, because you might change emotes while you're doing a stream, which every chat client supports. So it's like, okay, you have to pre-create the sprite asset that it uses to pull the sprites in. You must predefine the texture, but also you can't have it be a static thing because the emotes might be changed the next time you come online and you do the stream. So I was like, all right, that's a bit of a complicated problem. On top of the fact that a sprite sheet, again, shows a single frame of a motion. So like a sprite sheet is a bit like this. So imagine what a GIF is, right? Some sprite sheets are simple, where it's like, oh, like a single sprite sheet for like a static hamburger might just be the hamburger. But for a character, it's every frame of their animation, right? Every single one has a unique index that you have to call out. And this is basically what a GIF is, because for a GIF, it's a sequential series of frames that you want to play over and over and over again. Or a WebP or a GIF that's disguised as a WebP, right? So, well, not disguise. It is just one of the formats that they can do. But, so to support that, not only do I have to have each sprite be an emote, for GIF emotes, I have to spread the entire GIF out into a texture and put it there. And then I hit problem number 2, which is, oh my god, that's a lot of space. Because texture sizing is a little complicated. So, with something like a GIF, you can store all the sprites and they're overlaid, as I showed you within GIMP, right? Like, all the frames are there, but they occupy just the same 328 by 128, image canvas. Because whatever consumes it knows to split the frames in order to consume it that way. because this thing only works off of sprites, what I have to do instead is I have to spread it out like this. The problem is that texture sizes, I think, have a hard limit as well as like a soft limit. Like, apparently most sprite sheets are in the range of 4096 by 4096, but wide vibe is 328 by 128. So 4096 divide by 328, I can only fit 12 frames of the wide vibe emote, but as you saw, there were 256 frames. So that's a major problem. I can only fit so many frames of a single animated emote into a texture sheet at 4096, and I still can't figure out what is the maximum texture size. But like, that's the thing, is like, if you have a texture, and this is sort of a part of the second problem, that's any arbitrary size. Let's say it's like, let's say it has to be 328 times 256 frames. It has to be at least 83,000 pixels in total area to contain this emote, and that's just for the width. So it's like, at least the area to contain the width of the emote has to be at least 83,000 pixels long. I don't know what happens when you load the texture of that size. Like, does the GPU just die and say, no, sorry, bye? And also think of the space, because it's like, that's a lot of space that you use that can't be compressed down. Like, it's 2.61 megabytes on disk, but is that really the way to go, that you use a sprite sheet with that much detail? Because at that point, it's like 2.61 megabytes of space, and then that's just for one thing, but there's all the empty space around the emote too. So there's all this empty space around the sprites that you can get really close when you pack it. And it's, thankfully, the emotes are like all the same size per frame, but when it's stacked on top of each other, sort of like the way that you would normally think of it, it's much easier. When you do it side by side, there's gonna be extra empty space, so the size gets even larger. So it's like, now it's like, I don't even know what happens when the texture gets that large. And that's for one emote. A channel can have up to 600. So it's like, wait a minute. If I'm using sprites, what does that mean? It means this one texture has to be like 1,000,000 pixels long. I don't even know if you could do something like that. And on top of that, what's the size of the thing going to be? How much VRAM is this going to use? Because 2.7 megabytes doesn't seem that bad. But if you have 2.7... If you have 600 emotes and they're all 2.7 megabytes, that's 1.6 gigabytes of memory of video RAM to hold this texture. 1.6 gigabytes to hold that many emotes in VRAM? That's insanity. So there has to be a different way of doing it. Now, there are different sizes to the emotes, because as you saw, there's like a 4x, there's a 1x, so you can choose the size. It seems like every single chat client uses 4x, so there has to be something, like maybe it actually does just take that much memory, and maybe they just keep it within CPU and then keep it within RAM in order to like address it on demand instead, and doing it like a slightly slower way instead of using like a sprite in the Unity, which requires it to be a texture, right? But I'm like, I can't do that because this library only works with sprites. So then I was like, okay, maybe I need to modify it, but I'm gonna try this method. And it's making multiple different sprite assets. The problem is that if you have multiple different things that come from different sprite assets, this thing can only address one at a time. So it's like, it's still a problem of like one single thing. You can only have at most two of them. So it's like, do you have one that's only for animated that's always available, and then one that's always just there for like non-animated, split into sections? Like, what do you do, right? Like, it's super complicated. At least in my mind of like, I don't know how I would solve this. So yeah, like, I'm currently at this impasse. It's why there's so many different tabs of like, how does it work? How do you actually like write to a texture and you do something like this? What is the cost going to be like? What's it actually going to look like to make this work? And this is all just to get like 7 TV emotes and this stupid scene idea that I had within Warudo. So I don't know what to do. I'm going to try to figure this out even more because it feels like I'm on the wrong track. My thinking is I'm on the wrong track and I need to take a couple steps back to be like, well, maybe this isn't the only way. Though, again, I don't want to move away from using TextMesh Pro because, again, this package seems to do exactly what I need, because this package does all the complicated bits for me. In fact, I can even show you the source code of this package, because the source code of this package is a bit absurd. Because doing something like this, having a thing that can dynamically size everything and then has all the stuff from the font, you would think it'd be fairly simple, but like, it's actually a fairly complicated business. Because let's say you want to do rich text support, which this one has, so we can even do like, you know, it's how the sprite works. It's treated as like a rich text tag. What you have to do is you have to do things like control codes. So let's say anim. I'm gonna find exactly the one where it's like the animed tag. So let's say this one. You see all these markup tags and all these different codes and stuff like that, right? This is a giant switch case that handles every single type of character there. Because every single character has a different code, and so all these different codes lead to different things, and it's like slightly different handling for this code or that code. And also, some Unicode characters, you have to handle them differently. You have to, like, let's say you want to do a proper like text renderer that converts it to a mesh. Well, you have to care about the size of the code, because it's like one character does not equal one letter as we know it, because Unicode, there could be multiple things leading to one character that you see on screen, right? Like, this handles all of that for me, and I know how complicated it is. That's why I don't want to do it myself, because it works if we do plain old ASCII, which is like basically just the English alphabet plus some other, you know, characters and like markings, right? But if somebody comes in and speaks French, the whole thing would like break if I made it on my own, because it'd be a whole special case. A special cases as it's sort of doing here, handling it, you know, as Unicode stuff. So I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. I'd rather just use this as it is here, so it does everything for me. On top of the fact that it generates the mesh for me. It does all the calculations of how the line height should be like. And it even cares about and calculates it in relation to the size of the sprite. So if I can just figure out the sprite problem, I can just use this. But I don't know how to solve the sprite problem. So if anybody has ever done this, please let me know. Because I don't know that this is a crazy solution now. But I don't know how to do this. And there has to be an easier way to do this, because it's like, how do these extensions do it? Because this is the thing, right? On Twitch, like, I have 7TV installed. So, is it just using 1.6 gigabytes of VRAM to, like, potentially every single time I view a chat? Maybe. Because if I look at my Firefox, this thing is using, like, a fuck ton of memory. Right? But that's memory. It's not really GPU usage. But also, I don't even know how you, like, measure VRAM usage. Like, maybe using chat is awful for me, but I've never actually checked that. So it's like, another thing that I want to do is to check and make sure that maybe I'm actually not off base, and this is just the base complexity of the problem. Of like, you literally can't work around the fact that you're gonna have some portion of your VRAM just disappear. Because I can see right now with OBS, right, open, as well as like the chat and stuff, that it's using 2.3 gigabytes of my VRAM. Of my total 11 available for it to use that is dedicated. It's total 16 shared. I don't know what that means. I forget what exactly it means, but something's using 2.3 gigabytes. Could be 7TV, could be anything, could be the chat extensions that have enabled in the OBS chat. But it's like, how do you work around this problem from like a Unity perspective, from a technical perspective? I don't know. But I have a next step for this. So that's an update on my stuff and what I've been dealing with. All this because I just want to have 7TV emotes within this stupid 3D scene in Unity Warudo. And I couldn't find anything that sort of did this in the same way, or that used the same thing within Warudo. Though I should probably check across all of Unity to see if there is a pre-existing solution. But if I'm wrong, please let me know, because I'm probably wrong. Like, I'm probably wrong in this whole approach, and there's probably a much easier way of doing it. But as far as I know, it feels like a headache. So yeah, that's my week. Next chatter, their goal for this week is to continue working on line cleanup on their sketch and maybe start coloring. I'm hoping it's this sketch, because if you're doing cleanup, it's crazy that you're saying that you're doing cleanup, because it already looks so clean to me that I'm like, I don't really know what else you would have to do with it to make it look cleaner or like just better, because I'm like, this looks really good. That's all you've been working on. It already looks amazing, so I don't know what you're doing to clean it up, but I'm curious to see what you're doing. And here's their update. They cleaned up the sketch lines on the head and the added details. Zoom in! Zoom in! Okay, now this is our chive moment. Like, you know, we just saw that subreddit where they were like, exactly, spot that it's just like the spot that like chives. Like, okay, I see some chives here. I see some chives here. Look, what does he have? Hair on his toes? Maybe he does. Maybe this creature does have hair on their toes. Maybe. But you know what? I see the line cleanup. All right, so we spotted it. But that's what they've been doing. And they have an update, because they cleaned the sketch lines on the head and they added details. On the head? The head to me looked pretty good. Pretty perfect. I don't know. What? Clean up what? What? It's like the owl meme. It's like how to draw an owl. You start with a circle, you end up with an owl. And it's like, that's crazy. Let you post the pic. Okay, now we're gonna play find spot the difference. They also selected most of the colors that they wanted to use, and they started using a layer as a color palette instead of going to the old files to get the colors that they wanted. That's actually genius. Huh. That's actually genius. Yeah, because it's like, how else? I've never thought about that. Yeah, because how do you have like a library of colors? Because like, say in GIMP or in Photoshop, you can add the colors to the color palette, but then it's like that's also annoying because it's like because the palette has its own limitations. So maybe going in to get a separate file that you add as a layer that has your colors, like that's a much more way. You know what? I'm gonna steal your idea because that's genius. That's a great solution. And they also wanted to work on it more, but they wanted to sleep more. And you know what? Sleep is good, and so it's good. And here's the update. Holy shit, that looks sick. You wanted to work on it more, but honestly, I think this is really, really cool. And I like the color. It's a very, very vivid color palette. It's a very, very vivid color palette. Like it, and also the contrast is like, the contrast adds to how terrifying the whole thing looks. And also something about things with blue skin freak me out. Like, you ever see the Blue Man Group? They freak me the fuck out. The Blue Man Group freak me out because I'm like, there's no way you can be that blue. So anything that evokes the Blue Man Group, that scares me. Look at them. So good job. +1 for completing. And honestly, +4 for spookiness. You've actually got a pretty spooky thing going on here. It's not +5 because, like, I don't know, it's missing like a sacrifice, you know? You have to sacrifice someone. Have you sacrificed someone yet? If you have, let me know, and I'll bump it to a +5. But this is cool. This is good. Actually, I really like this, and it is a lot cleaner. And it's very, but it's honestly just a, in my mind, it's also a cool concept. So it's really cool. His body is space. It's not done yet. That's a cool concept. His body is space. That's cool. I'm actually curious to see the full thing. Please keep us updated because that's really cool. I'm not exactly sure what in the tail. O-tag that. Oh, but for the emote thing, right? But you can see all your 7TV emotes in your Firefox cache folder. Yeah, so that makes sense. So it's like, either way, like I have to go to the API to pull down the images from 7TV, and I have to like, but it's like I don't have to store them as files. I can just pull them down. Because either way, like the API is weird in that when you get the emote set, they give you all the files anyway. So you get it all across the network request anyways. And it doesn't really matter if it comes from file or from memory at that point because it's all basically the same. If anything, maybe it's cheaper that's within memory at that point because then it's like you can go straight from memory to VRAM by just blending it to the texture. But compared to like having to load the file from disk, pulling it out from disk from IO, getting it into memory, and then doing that same process again because it's already within the request. So either way, I do have to pull the images, but it's just that bit of like. Maybe specifically it's the bit of like, do I even need to use a sprite sheet? And is there a way to do a sprite sheet where you can like collapse the frames into one thing that doesn't involve a sprite sheet that's like a couple tens of thousands of pixels long to like fit everything? It just because again, a sprite sheet that's 83,000 pixels of area just to contain the width of wide vibe seems insane. I could also do a slower frames per second. Like if I know them doing 30 frames per second. I can probably cut out a large number of the frames and get it down from like 256 frames down to like, let's say 5 frames or 10 frames or something. Like I can probably make it like very stuttered, but then it's like I want to get to trying to get everything in without losing quality. But again, I don't know. I'll have to read up more on how GIFs work and how they specifically save space. Because maybe that's the key, is like maybe there's like something I could do with like layers, but again, I have no clue. Because that library that I'm using to TextMesh Pro, it uses an indexing system where it looks at certain coordinates on the sprite that it saves beforehand, or that you can modify beforehand, and then just pulls whatever data is from that texture within that area of space, and then using the defined pivot point, uses that to lay it out onto the text itself, like the line of text. So, all in all, I'm fucked. But thank you for that update. Next chatter is the mod. Oh. Her goals are basically the same for this week as it was for last week. It'll be the same for the rest of 2025. It's literally October. You have 2 more months. Continue working on finishing the kinesiology course that she's taking. She wants to finish Unit 2 by this week. She wants to keep reading the book that she's currently reading, which is she's finished Sapiens. And due to an unfortunate mishap this week, of which I know of, she was unable to read much of Babel. But the goal is to keep reading it this week. By the way, I just realized you borrowed it from the library, right? So. When do they break down your doors to try to get the book back, right? Is there like a limit for how long you're allowed to keep the book? Is it 1 week, 2 weeks? Does the librarian come to your home and then start blasting? Who posted it? I'm thinking now about the Venn diagram of content. Perhaps there needs to be a handy way to categorize different kinds of content. From quality to slop to noise to bullshit. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. We get bangers every day. If you're not in the small intestine, you're missing out. There's a banger in this channel every single day. This is the inner sanctum. You have to pass the test. If you pass the test, there's a banger every single day. You have until November 3rd. What day is it today? You're screwed. Good luck. Godspeed. I hope that you would do it. Because you have an update. You watched Man of Steel. Did you like Man of Steel last night? Was it a good movie? Hopefully you enjoyed Man of Steel last night. Very good update. I like how your update says so much without saying anything regarding your goals. It's the kind of update that you don't want to get from your coworker, where it's like, oh, it's like, hey, did you get the thing done? And then they say, I went to eat at Eastside Mario's, and you go, well, looks like we're working overtime. You know what I mean? It's the implications. For those who haven't watched it, the movie is 2 hours and 22 minutes, and it's so boring for the first 1.5 hours. That's what I heard too. So it's unfortunate that you watched it. But also, isn't that the movie with what's his face? Chris Hemsworth. What's his name? What's the actor's name? He's the guy who built his PC naked. Henry Cavill. Diva ass clap takes up 52 kilobytes on your hard drive. Good to know. You should actually check the size of some of these emotes. Some of them are very large. Like, again, like Wide Vibe is 2.6 megabytes, which is crazy. But even like some of the large boober ones are like 4 point something. So, Henry Cavill, and the movie sucks. Okay, well, you know what? You get 0 points because you didn't finish any of your goals, and I give you 2 spooky points because it's almost like you've been kidnapped to say this. Because it's you know what it is? You've done the thing that horror movies do well, which is the implication. The implication of the horror is often more terrifying than the horror itself. So the implication that, oh no, you know, something terrible has gone wrong. You know what? +3 for you. No, if the artist who made this gets +4 instead of a 5, then you get +1, +0. So you get +0 for your goal, +1 for this. Good job, mod. And you know what? I get it. It's hard. Honestly, I still haven't finished the House of Leaves. It's just me sitting there collecting dust. I still need to actually like sit down and read it. There's not enough time in life. You know what I want? I don't want somebody to invent time travel. I want somebody to invent whatever happens in space when time slows down. Like, you know how when you're on a spaceship and apparently time goes slower for you, so you age either slower or faster? That's what I want. Like, I want that to happen, and I want them to import that to Earth so that we get more time within our lives. I would love to live for 3 times longer if it meant I had more time to do things, unless I was being tortured, in which case just please kill me now. Well, it's actually 294 kilobytes. 52 is the low-res version. You think it loads high-res when you focus on it or something. Yeah, so that's a technique that I was thinking of too, but then I don't want that technique. So that's a technique that's interesting in that, like, you would think it would be less total usage, right? But then it's a bit of a bait because it's like low-res is 52, and you use low-res within the actual chat box, but 294 for high-res if you want to hover over it. What does that mean? It means that you have to load both at all times. Because if they hover over it, you have to then request it, and boom, now it's taking up space. You can evict it eventually, right? Especially within the context of 7TV, you can eventually evict the high-res emote, and so eventually it'll like go away. I don't know the mechanisms of it. I'm just using the word evict to like match what I think of in my mind. So it'll eventually disappear, right? But in the context of Unity, I don't know if that's possible because they both have to be on the sprite sheet for like the low and the high res. So either way, I would just be incurring the cost of both. Though I was thinking of using the lower quality versions. The problem is that it's a 3D scene, so I'm gonna have to test which quality version works the best because I didn't want to use a lower quality version if there was a higher one, for the sake of like if you want to blow it up to make a large scene. Because the scene again is going to be us around an office table. On the office table there's a pentagram and some pentacles, pentagram and some pumpkins, but also I guess pentacles too. What is a pentacle? That sounds familiar. Yeah, a pentacle. Wait, a pentagram is a pentacle. So yeah, it's going to be a pentacle, which is the pentagram with the circle and a bunch of pumpkins and stuff like that, you know. And then we're all around the table. The whole idea of the scene was that for the accountability circle, I would stand behind you in my VR headset because it has VR support, and I would stand there and I would be at your back and I put my hands on your shoulders while the text box is going. And there's one text box for chat as a whole, and one text box only for that chatter. So we get a direct feed of that chatter and what they say. And then at the end, we do a vote. So it's like chat would vote yay or nay, whether or not they get sent to hell. That's what I wanted to do. So it's like, but if I'm doing that, I think the quality of the emotes has to be fairly high. So, but I'm hoping that I can get away from with at least like a 2x, which would still help. But either way, even at 2x size, if you cut the size of Wide Vibe in half, that's still 43,000 pixels of a texture. So there's still something wrong with the approach that I need to fix, because 43,000 pixels on a texture, it just doesn't seem feasible. Anyways, every time we talk about it, the more I get frustrated by it. So, Tentacles and Pentacles in your room, classic. So Mod, good job. Keep reading. Keep trying, and never watch Man of Steel. What you should watch is apparently the new Superman movie. All of our friends have said that that's good, so we'll see how it goes. This chatter said they had a weekly font update because they've been working on their fonts. This chatter is funny in that they've stopped giving their goals. So this chatter just says they just work in their font every week because it's like they're lost inside the sauce. You want to see Henry Cavill? His video is online, no? Isn't it? You can just go to watch him building a PC. Henry Cavill. Build PC original. Oh, it's on Instagram though. But yeah, you can just go watch him build a PC, which is probably it's more fun. There's no need to go watch his movie. You just watch him build a PC while he's like half topless. Is the music original? I can't tell. And you see him with his little lights. By the way, that light thing is funny because, like, yeah, it's very handy. Usually, what I would do is I have a light on the ceiling that I just position everything under. But even that, you get blocked out. And then I use a flashlight to help me. But it's like, the flashlight is a bit annoying to use. So then I just do it in a room that's way too bright, and then my eyes hurt. Or maybe that's not a light. Wait, no, that's just a camera. Okay, I was thinking it's a light, and I was thinking that's a genius move, because honestly, sometimes it's a bit too, like, dark for my eyes. But yeah, just watch this. Watch him building a PC. You just watch him build a PC. I always love this step. By the way, when he looks at it, and he just admires his work, but also he's looking at it because he's like, should these cables really touch should these really touch the video card? Because it's like both admiration and I don't know if these cables. I don't know if my pump wires should be touching my graphics card. Like if it'll melt. And then he builds his PC, and then he just does stuff. And then he also rotated. Everybody does this. Everyone does this. It always happens. It happened to me and my wife. We just rotated within software because you can now rotate it with the software, and it'll go up correctly. Yeah, just watch that video instead of his movie. And was this a chatter? All they do is they work on their font. So again, their font. This is what happened last time. They were working on their font. It's pretty tedious work looking at hundreds of letter combinations and changing a few pixels at a time. And again, because they're making a font, depending on how many languages they support or how many different like writing systems they support, they have to do everything for every single font, and they've been making it work piece by piece. But this is their font over here. This is the other fonts around here, and their font is very good at very low sizes, but they're suffering for their art. Which is true of all art, but like their art in particular is actual insanity. Like I feel like this is just the torture. So again, this is +5 in terms of horror. Do you know why? Real life torture cannot be beat in terms of the evil that is there. +5 for real life torture. They're probably dead right now. And +1 for still working on their goal. This chatter had a goal of enjoying their week, and they actually updated and they enjoyed the week. And I know why they enjoyed the week. I won't say it, but they're enjoying their week. I know that they're enjoying their week. And you know what? It's well deserved, Chad. It's well deserved. And that's it. That's the entire the entire accountability circle. There's only 4 of us. I'm sad that this week we didn't go down like a Linux sort of deep dive, because every time there's like a new waifu Linux variant, it's always funny. But you know what? At least I got to show you some technical problems, and I'll be working on the stuff too. So now, new goals. under here, don't post them yet, for Discord time next Friday. The next accountability circle will be the 31st of October. So this will be long dates. New goals under here for this time. Again, if you're worried about participating because you're like, oh, like I'm not actually good at whatever I do or I have no goals, don't worry. Just participate and try it out. It's actually really fun to just do this because it's like you get to, if I minimize it, does it fuck up? Yeah, it does. Well, it's fine. But like the whole point of it is to like use it as a tool for yourself, right? So don't feel bad about not completing your goals. It's just a fun week. Did they go to the East Side Marios? Well, even better. They're going to the West Side Marios. Exactly. Look at your progress, says the mod. Don't compare yourself to the mod though. She's we're gonna have a deep we're gonna have a talk, okay? We're gonna have a talk later. Alright, mod, okay? You are the cornerstone. You have to set the example being the moderator for the rest of the chat for progress, alright? It's like imagine children. You can't just smoke, look at the child and say don't smoke. Because then they're gonna see you smoking and then they'll smoke. You have to not smoke. Anyways, compare yourself to the mod if you want to feel better about yourself, because she's a failure. If you make too much progress and make me feel bad, you're bad, that says the mod. Watch out, everybody. You must achieve exactly as she does to stay within the channel. See, that's a good moderation technique. You moderate by the means. You moderate by the means. It's MOM. It's an MOM scheme. Ah, perfect. Moderation of the means. Get your goals in for October 31st, which is exactly on Halloween Day. I don't think we'll be doing a stream on Halloween, so I'll figure out how this is gonna go. But or maybe when is it? When exactly is Halloween night? When is it? 30th? No, it's the 31st. Yeah, so that's gonna be Halloween. I have some ideas planned for Halloween, but we'll see how it goes. It's gonna be very, very scary stuff. Hopefully it'll be fun for you all. And we'll try to get as far as we can within these spooky times. But yeah, get your goals in. I can't believe that October after this week is done. It's really cool to do this too, because again, not only do I get to see what everyone is working on, and we all get to commiserate on our pains, we also get to see the passage of time as it relates to our lives. Because doing this, I've never been more aware of how quickly my life is going by and nothing's happening than before. I've never been more aware of it than now. Because now it's like, I feel it. Like every single day, like a week goes by, and I look at my goals, which were admittedly very simple, and I'm like, I didn't finish any of these goals, like I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die in like a couple more months and then it's over. In like a couple more years and then it's over. And then what? What do I have to live for? Time is fading. Time is fading. I don't want to be here. Time is fading. I'm afraid of what's to come.